Post details an elderly, egotistical president shielded from reality by a slavish coterie of loyalists. Never said that word before. So ailing, mendacious, egotistical. And that's from media outlets that spent 4 years smooching Biden's wrinkly ass. They were so far up his butt, I'm surprised they didn't diagnose the cancer.
Greg Gutfeld came out swinging with a blazing wave of comedy aimed straight at former President Joe Biden, turning every stumble, confused pause, and scramble comment from his years in office into pure late-night fire with dramatic flair. He ripped through Biden's wandering off-stage moments, those strange air handshakes that left crowds baffled, and every unscripted mix-up that somehow became its own headline. Gutfeld turned Biden's most confusing moments into a ruthless roast that had people gasping and laughing at the same time. And with no script, no digital prompts, and no friendly media filter to soften the blow, Biden was fully exposed under Gutfeld's raw spotlight. Anyone who thought late-night humor had gone soft got the shock of their lives, because this explosive takedown was sharp, fearless, and wildly entertaining, bringing back that classic unapologetic punch that late-night TV has been missing.
President Biden boasting about how you should be thanking him this Thanksgiving.
Well, this past week, as Americans gathered around their own kitchen tables for Thanksgiving dinner, that was our goal, to give them a little more breathing room. From turkey to air travel to tank of gas.
Greg Gutfeld hit the stage with comedy so razor-sharp it felt like a blade carved from pure sarcasm, cutting straight through the moment with deadly precision. His target stood there wearing that puzzled grin with his eyes drifting like a broken signal. And it was Joe Biden, practically the human version of a confused teleprompter glitch. Gutfeld didn't warm up, he didn't ease, and he struck instantly, painting Biden not as a leader, but as a heavily guided mascot for policies even his own team can barely explain. Every punchline hit with shocking force, leaving the crowd stunned at how bold, relentless, and electrifying the takedown became.
It's a train wreck of a fact check. Yes, Reuters invites hilarity by fact-checking obvious parody, telling its readers no such luck. Biden doesn't really chase the ice cream truck. So it's no secret the big guy enjoys his ice cream. That's just one of the reasons why Dr. Jill calls him Mr. Soft.
Greg fired back with a brutal joke, saying the Biden presidency doesn't even feel like a real administration. It feels more like one long senior moment happening on a global stage. He compared Joe to that older relative who gets lost in his own hallway, but still insists he can drive the entire family across the country with a level of confidence that makes everyone panic. It's not that Biden has no idea what's happening, it's that he thinks he totally understands everything, and that belief turns every simple moment into a major obstacle. Gutfeld tore in even harder, saying Biden talks about fixing the economy while wearing the exact expression of a man trying to remember where he left his dentures, and the crowd erupted because the visual was just too painfully accurate.
Guy's big ad buy comes one day before Robert Hur will testify about his report claiming that Joe is an elderly man with a poor memory. Biden will be taking his angry man shtick on tour and hit 3 swing states this week. Over the weekend, he gave us a preview of what senile moments.
Greg went all in, tearing apart Biden's speeches, turning every moment into chaotic comedy the crowd couldn't escape. He joked that listening to Joe talk is like watching someone try to build IKEA furniture with no instructions, no glasses, and no clue what the final thing is supposed to look like. Biden will start with a big point about inflation, then drift into some random story about a cornfield in Delaware that no one asked for. The words are all there, but twisted together like a ball of holiday lights tossed into a blender, leaving everyone guessing where the sentence is heading. Half the time it feels like someone hit shuffle on a playlist made of political slogans mixed with diner stories from the 70s, and Greg made every bit of it hilarious.
Speak. He's actually lobbying Baskins and Robbins to make a flavor based on little girl shampoo. Although, when Joe says sprinkles, it means call the urologist.
And those pauses, those legendary Biden pauses, Greg shredded them with over-the-top humor that had the crowd exploding. He joked that watching Joe freeze mid-sentence feels like staring at a real-life buffering screen where no one knows if he's going to finish the thought drift into a nap or suddenly reboot like a government robot loading a new update. Sometimes Biden leans in and whispers, like he's about to reveal a national secret. Other times he randomly shouts a single word with the intensity of someone possessed by a dictionary spirit. The suspense keeps everyone locked in, turning every speech into a wild guessing game of what happens next.
Rated Mar-a-Lago with the feds. Now he gets a taste of his own meds. That's good. Yeah. Stop it. You're biting into the time. The White House admits that more classified documents were found, this time at one of Biden's homes in Delaware and in his garage. But it's cool, man, because that garage was totally locked.
Gutfeld went full throttle on Biden's leadership style, joking that choosing him was like electing a moving screensaver. It drifts around, looks busy from far away, but gets absolutely nothing done. While everyone pretends it's real work, Greg painted Biden as the commander of pure confusion, where the biggest threat isn't another nation, but whether he remembers which doorway leads to the Oval Office. He said Joe gives off the vibe of someone who walks into a kitchen and instantly forgets why he went in. Except now those moments happen while he is signing major executive orders on the same day. Greg laughed that under Biden you practically need a loan to buy eggs and a financial advisor to fill your gas tank, turning simple errands into dramatic quests. And when Biden proudly insists the economy is strong, Greg joked it feels like a magician claiming the rabbit is still in the hat, while it is literally hopping away behind him. He even took a jab at Biden's empathy, saying Joe seems convinced that squinting and nodding very seriously counts as solving America's problems.
Pennsylvania, I have a message for you. Send me to Congress that I can support this right, and I promise you, we take back Congress, we will restore Roe v. Wade as the law of the land.
Biden could show America his razor-sharp mind by debating Donald Trump, but so far, he refuses to commit.
Mr. President, will you commit to a debate with former President Trump?
It depends on his behavior.
Greg did not slow down for a second. He joked that Biden's go-to solution for rising crime, chaotic borders, and collapsing schools is to show up at a town hall, mumble something that sounds poetic but means nothing, and then wander off stage like a dad who lost his family at a crowded festival. He compared Biden's leadership to putting a lava lamp in charge of the nation's power grid. It glows, it wiggles, it looks kinda pretty, but it can't actually do anything and eventually makes a huge mess when it overheats. Greg then revisited Biden's strangest moments, the invisible handshakes, the random conversations with no one, the sudden freeze-frame pauses where he looks like someone hit the remote and pressed pause. He joked that we are one press conference away from Biden greeting a House plant and mistaking it for a foreign diplomat, and the crowd exploded. Greg said this isn't governance, it feels like a taxpayer-funded reboot of Weekend at Bernie, but with podiums, microphones, and frantic staff members sprinting backstage. The only thing truly being built back better, Greg laughed, is the White House press team's emergency plan for whenever Joe drifts away from the script, which happens almost every single time he opens his mouth.
The cold, sweet treat is perfect for cooling down after a long, hot, sweaty day of aimlessly drifting around the White House like a tumbleweed. But now Reuters, which claims to be a news outlet, is getting mocked online for actually fact-checking a clearly edited video of Biden getting distracted by an ice cream truck and walking out.
Greg went all in on Biden's foreign policy, calling him the kind of guy who tries to calm a wild animal by reading it a bedtime story, completely missing the danger right in front of him. Whether Biden is facing global tensions or major treaties, Greg joked he brings the same energy as a tired substitute teacher who lost the lesson plan and just wants the room quiet until the bell rings. World leaders don't fear him, they study him like a strange science project waiting for someone else to take over. Whenever he drifts into a slow nod, then Greg tore into the border crisis, calling it the greatest disappearing act in modern politics, not because the chaos stopped, but because Biden acts like he just can't see it. Gutfeld laughed that under Biden security feels more like a mood than a policy shifting around with no structure, while the border stays wide open and the fallout grows. And meanwhile, Biden looks more focused on sipping oatmeal, while his staff begs America to stay calm. Everyday Americans stare at soaring bills like contestants on a brutal game show, guess the price, pay even more, and pray the lights stay on long enough to survive the month.
She's going to win.
Joe Biden was the ultimate catfish.
Yeah.
We were all online being told, oh, this is a congenial centrist. Yeah, swipe right. I don't know how to do these dating apps.
Yeah.
But anyway, then you find out it's not him at all, but some guy in a bathrobe smoking meth.
Yeah.
God, how many times has that happened to me?
Then Greg tore into Biden's endless image makeovers, laughing that trying to reinvent him is like trying to polish a cloud. No matter how hard they push, nothing ever changes. And every few weeks, Biden pops up in those aviator sunglasses, acting like slipping them on somehow deletes the confusion, the stumbles, and the bizarre decisions piling up non-stop. Greg joked that if cool shades and an awkward hallway jog were enough to fix the nation, Biden would already be carved into Mount Rushmore. Instead, he looks like a guy who wandered out of a retirement home searching for a long-lost concert from the 70s. Then Greg hit the student loan chaos, calling Biden's plan pure financial theater. One moment, he's the hero promising massive relief, and the next, he gets smacked down by courts, facts, and basic math, while pretending money will magically appear. Gutfeld laughed that Biden's economic strategy feels like playing Monopoly after mortgaging every property and forgetting the rules entirely, and he argued that spending 40 years in politics isn't a qualification, it just means Biden stayed near the building, while everyone else actually got work done.
Hauser and Chancellor Farabee, thank you for joining us as well. And for families across the country, the school year.
That's hilarious. I would say the footage does seem manipulated. There's no way Joe can move that fast. But give him a break, he's got oil cancer.
Then came Biden's grand talk of unity, or at least his version of unity, where he preaches healing while scolding half the country at the exact same time. And Greg joked that it feels like inviting someone over for dinner and immediately roasting their outfit, their kids, and their car before they even sit down. You cannot claim to unite a nation while insulting it in real time. And Greg delivered the truth with pure comedic fire that had the crowd erupting. He laughed that the only thing Biden has truly united is the entire country's desperate wish to never hear another political commercial, just to get a moment of peace. Wrapping it all up, Greg pointed out that Biden might be the only president who can drift asleep in a meeting and still get praised for being calm and focused, as if blinking in the right direction now counts as national progress. And Greg warned that this is not leadership, this is a whole nation choosing denial just to survive the chaos. He joked that America did not get a president, it got a long wandering voicemail left by someone who forgot they were already recording, and now the entire country is forced to sit through it.
Justice Department's appointing a special counsel to review whether Biden mishandled classified info. So how is the White House dealing with this? Come on, you just got to trust the process.
This is an ongoing process under the review of the Department of Justice. We're going to respect the process, and we're just going to allow the process to continue. Let the process continue. It's an ongoing process. I am genuinely saying to you, there is an ongoing process. This is all part of the Justice Department process as part of that process. And I said because there was a process of justice throughout this process, we just laid out the process that was taken, and that is the process.
Yeah.
Gutfeld turned up the heat, saying Biden's presidency feels like being trapped in a never-ending airport layover. Nobody planned, nothing works right, everyone is frustrated, and all you can do is wait for it to end, while announcements get more confusing by the second. He compared Biden's policy updates to flight delay messages, always delivered with a fake smile, followed by pure chaos, leaving everyone scrambling. One day he's hyping a green energy event, the next he's whispering about unity while ignoring a major train derailment happening in real time. Greg joked the White House has become a live-action weekend at Bernie, but instead of beaches and sunglasses, it's filled with cards, frantic staff, and press secretaries performing Olympic-level acrobatics to explain missteps every time Biden turns to leave the stage, there's a real chance he'll walk into a flag-a-wall or the nearest musician. And yet some media still react like he's discovered gravity. Greg rapped by roasting Biden's attempts to connect with everyday people, and the audience couldn't stop laughing at how painfully out of touch those moments actually look.
Part of the Biden cover-up was by design, orchestrated to protect not the president, but to enable a radical agenda. Anyone could tell Joe was feeble. But what if Biden's decline wasn't caused by disability, but by debility, meaning he was purposely kept exhausted, confused, and miserable, like an overnight shift worker or a Fox and Friends viewer?
Gutfeld couldn't stop laughing as he tore into Biden's attempts to pass himself off as a working-class hero, even while popping up at billionaire fundraisers and browsing fancy scented candles in Delaware like a weekend hobby. He joked that Biden talking about blue-collar struggles is like a reality star claiming they understand homelessness because they stayed in a slightly cheaper hotel for one night. It's all performance with zero real connection, and the crowd erupted at how obvious it looked. Greg also mocked Biden's awkward social media videos, those stiff rehearsed clips where he's holding an ice cream cone or squinting at the camera like he's trying to remember what year he's supposed to say. He joked the videos look more like retirement home ads than leadership messages, and the audience roared. He added that if Biden ever joined TikTok, his challenge would be called Find the Exit. And as the crowd cracked up, Greg kept smiling because this wasn't just comedy, it was a release for everyone to laugh through the confusion and exhaustion of the times. Meanwhile, somewhere backstage, Biden was still asking where Air Force One might be parked.